Hello friends, and welcome to another brand new video on the channel Law for All. Now in this video we're going to be learning about when a co-owner cannot seek an injunction against the other co-owners. Now, as always, before I begin with the video, I would like to point out that I've left some useful links in the description section of this video. So if you'd like to learn more about drafting of conveyances or applications to be filed in the Indian courts, then kindly do check out the links left in the description section of this video. It might be of some help to you. Also, I would like to point out or I'd rather remind you that if you find this video useful, kindly like it, kindly do share it with your friends, and subscribe to this channel for more such regular lessons on Indian law. Now, getting into the video, first let us understand as to what is the right, or rather what are the rights and nature of the position of a co-owner. That is, what is basically a co-owner entitled to. Now, a co-owner enjoys the same rights as that of the other co-owners. That is, presuming that two persons have collectively by one sale deed have purchased one property, then both the co-owners of the property, both of them will have equal rights as that of the other person with regards to the subject property. That is the right of possession, right of ownership, right of usage. They will have the same right. So it will be almost as if they've bought the property individually, but the consent of the other co-owner would be required. Now, secondly, a co-owner enjoys the same right of possession as that of the other co-owners. So right of possession is also jointly shared. So that is, one co-owner cannot restrain the other person from entering the property, nor can the other one do it to the first co-owner. Of course, there could be an explicit agreement to that effect. That is, if presuming that if three parties collectively have purchased a property, then there could be an agreement within the co-owners to the effect that only a certain number of co-owners will enjoy the possession of the property, and the other person and the other co-owner rather might not have the right of possession, or that person will only hold ownership right within that property, and that his consent would be required as and when the property is to be sold or alienated. So that arrangement could also be possible. Now, property cannot be sold, transferred, leased without the consent of all the co-owners. So as I pointed out, if there are multiple co-owners to a property, consent of all the co-owners of the property would be required to create any sort of an encumbrance upon the property, any sort of lien over the property, or for that matter to even sell the property or lease it to third parties. So therefore, if there is no consent of all the co-owners, then one of the co-owners can challenge the acts of the other co-owners before the court of law. Now, unauthorized actions of one or more co-owners can be challenged by the others, as I pointed out previously. Can legally restrain the other co-owners from interfering with the property under select circumstance. Now, generally the principle is that since all the owners of the property, all the co-owners of the property have equal rights to the property, in as much as vis-a-vis the other co-owners, one co-owner will have the right to restrain the other co-owner from interfering with the property or causing any kind of harm to the property under select circumstances only. So therefore, this video is basically based on the concept of under what circumstances can the co-owner seek an injunction, and under what circumstances can the co-owner the co-owner is not entitled to seek an injunction against the other co-owners. So before I get to that part, I would like to brush more on the topic of the nature of co-ownership, and I'm going to read out some observations that have been made by the Indian courts. Now, I have linked these observations are from judgments that have been passed by the Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court and the Bombay High Court, and links to both these judgments have been left by me in the description section. So if you'd like to read these judgments in detail, kindly go to the description section and check out the judgments. Now, the first observation is, if the other co-owner objects to the construction of a homestead, he can get the co-ownership property divided by partition, and if the other party is not readily willing to that course, it is open to him to get it partitioned through a suit. These are various remedies available to the co-owner in respect to the land. Merely because he has to resort to such steps, it cannot be said that a co-owner cannot erect a homestead in the land. So therefore, as I have mentioned before, there are certain circumstances only under which a co-owner can seek an injunction against the other co-owner. So this is one of those, this observation from the judgment will start becoming relevant after I take you through the conditions, the grounds under which a co-owner can seek an injunction against the other. Now let us go to the second observation. The law as to the co-owner is very well settled. Where any property is held by several co-owners, each co-owner has interest in every inch of the common property, but his interest is qualified and limited by similar interest to the other co-owners. One co-owner cannot take exclusive possession of the property nor commit an act of waste, ouster or illegitimate use, and if he does so, he may be restrained by an injunction. A co-owner may, by an arrangement expressed or implied with his other co-owners, possess and enjoy any property exclusively. Such a co-owner can also protect his possession against the other co-owners, and if he is dispossessed by the latter, he can recover exclusive possession. So, this observation basically says that if in case if one of the co-owner is dispossessing the other co-owner or is violating his rights of ownership, then he shall have the right to approach the court and recover exclusive possession. Now, let us get to the important part of this video as to under what circumstance a co-owner cannot seek an injunction, cannot seek any kind of relief from the court. Now, the first circumstance is a co-owner is not entitled to an injunction restraining another co-owner from exceeding his rights in the common property absolutely and simply because he is a co-owner unless the act of the person in possession of the property amounts to ouster, prejudicial or adverse to the interest of the co-owner out of possession. So, this first condition says that one co-owner cannot ask for an injunction against the other co-owner simply because he is a co-owner. As I pointed out previously, the nature of a co-owner's position is that he is entitled to all the rights and benefits as that of the other co-owner. So therefore, if there are two co-owners, both of them will be entitled to the same right of ownership and possession. And it is not that one will have lesser right and the other one will have more right unless there is an explicit agreement to that effect. So there is a covenant there also. If both the co-owners collectively decide that that each of them individually would exercise specific rights, then that is possible. But if in the absence of that agreement, what happens is both the co-owners have equal rights. So this first condition says that one co-owner cannot seek an injunction against the other simply because he is a co-owner. Only because he is a co-owner, he cannot seek an injunction against the other person unless the acts of the other co-owner amount to ouster, prejudicial, or the acts are such that are adverse to the interest of the co-owner in possession. So if your acts, meaning in the sense that if one of the co-owners is exclusively trying to possess the property and is restraining the other co-owner from interfering or entering the property at all, presuming there is a agricultural property which has fruit bearing trees, so if and the property is owned by two persons, if one of the persons is exclusively trying to pluck the fruits from the trees that are planted on that agricultural property and restraining the other co-owner from exercising his rights, then that other co-owner can exercise his right before the court and seek an injunction against the other co-owner. But if presuming that there is a property on which there are fruit bearing trees and a certain number of trees have been given to one co-owner and the certain number of trees are given to the other ones, so just because one of the co-owner feels that he has the right to restrain the other co-owner merely because he is a co-owner, that is not a ground for him to approach the court and seek an injunction against the other co-owner from plucking the fruits from the fruit bearing trees. I hope I am able to understand that. I am able to explain that concept. Kindly do make a mention in the comment section if you have not understood that point, and I will try to explain it better. But I hope you have gotten the gist of the first condition. Now the second one, mere making of construction or improvement of in the common property does not amount to ouster. Now this is a very, very important condition which I would like to highlight here, because this is generally the common issue. What happens is that suppose if there is a property which is say at measuring 1,000 square meters, and if one person on his own is unable to purchase the property, what happens very often is that two people collectively will purchase the property, will share the cost of purchasing the property, and after they purchase the property, there would be an implicit arrangement among themselves which has not been explicitly written down, but there would be an arrangement that one co-owner will possess one part of the property and the other co-owner will possess the other part of the property. So let us presume 500 square meters each without drawing a physical boundary. Now years pass and and the relationship between the co-owners then deteriorates. So one of the co-owners one day decides to construct a structure upon his part of the property, that is out of that 1000 square meters, the 500 square meters that was implicitly agreed to be allotted to him. Without dividing the property physically, he tries to construct a small structure, a small house for himself to stay. Now the other co-owner, out of animosity against the first co-owner, approaches the court and files, or rather seeks to file an injunction as against the other co-owner. So this condition says that mere making of construction or improvement in the common property does not amount to ouster. So therefore, merely because the first co-owner is trying to construct a property, construct a structure, a house for himself in that property, it does not amount to ouster of the possession of the other property, ouster of the possession of the other co-owner. I hope I'm able to I hope I'm able to explain this point, that the other co-owner is within his rights to construct a structure upon the part of the property that has been occupied by him, so long as it is not detrimental to the entire property, so long as it is not illegally constructing the structure, or so long as he is not sort of dumping garbage over the property, or materially affecting the utility and value of the property. So long as that co-owner is not doing that, the other co-owner shall not have the right to seek an injunction against the other party merely because he is constructing of the property, because construction is considered to be, this condition explicitly deems construction to be an improvement, and it does not deem it to be a detriment to the property. It acknowledges construction as an accession and not a recession. So therefore, if one of the co-owners is trying to construct structure upon the property, the other co-owner will not have the right to ask for a restraint as against the first co-owner merely because he is constructing, so long as he is constructing within his part. If the co-owner who is trying to seek an injunction can prove that the other co-owner is trying to trespass into his part of the property, that is the part of the property which was impliedly understood to be possessed by the injunction seeking co-owner, then in such circumstance the first co-owner shall be entitled to seek an injunction, but not otherwise. Now, thirdly, by the act of the co-owner in possession, the value or utility of the possession is diminished, then the co-owner out of possession can certainly seek an injunction to prevent the diminution of the value and utility of the building. So this point was highlighted by me previously, that is, if the value and utility of the property is being diminished, then one of the co-owners can file an injunction against the other co-owner, that is, digging into the property illegally, or dumping garbage within the property. If that is diminishing the value and utility of the building, value and utility of the property, or for that matter, if the property is an agricultural property, any act which reduces the fertility of the property will be considered to be diminishing the value and utility of the property. So in such circumstance, the co-owner can seek an injunction against the other. Then, if the acts of the co-owner in possession are detrimental to the interest of the other co-owners, a co-owner out of possession can seek an injunction to prevent such an act which is detrimental to his interest. So therefore, presuming that the other part of the property has some things stored by the co-owner, and the other co-owner is doing something within the part that has been possessed by him, which affects the first co-owner's interest. In such case also, of course, this is subject to the co-owner, the party approaching the court, showing the court that this is actually happening, that is, the acts of the other co-owner are actually detrimental to his interest, and upon satisfaction, the same principles that apply to that of an injunction, for grant of an injunction, that is prima facie case, then there is a possibility of an irreparable damage being caused, balance of convenience in favor of the plaintiff. All of these factors will have to be satisfied, and only then can the co-owner seek an injunction against the other co-owner. Now, before an injunction is issued, the plaintiff has to establish that he would sustain by the acts of the complaints of some injury which mentally would affect his position or his enjoyment, or an accustomed user of the joint property would be inconvenienced or interfered with. So if the party seeking an injunction proves that he has sort of permitted some other party under an agreement to use his part of the property which has been possessed by him, and the acts of the co-owner who's constructing upon the property or who is utilizing his property is adversely affecting the rights of the injunction seeking co-owner, then in such case the courts will be entitled to grant him some relief. And finally, again, the question as to what relief should be granted is left to the discretion of the court in attending circumstances. On the balance of convenience and in exercise of discretion, the court will be guided by consideration of justice, equity, and good conscience. So again, the discretion has been left to the courts themselves to be exercised wisely. That is, if based on facts and circumstances of the case, the court is to decide as to what kind of relief is to be granted, whether if the relief of an injunction is to be granted, whether if a modified relief is to be granted, whether if the defendant is to be systematically restrained from performing a certain act. All of that is left to the discretion of the court. So the court has been given vast and wide powers. But there are certain circumstances which have been highlighted, as I have previously pointed out, that construction within the property does not amount to diminishing the value and utility of the building. In fact, it amounts to accession of property, meaning it adds to the value of the property. So in such circumstance, that is generally the basic situation. Generally what happens is that within a property, as I pointed out previously, one of the co-owners wishes to construct upon the property without physically partitioning the property, because that is a long, cumbersome, cost extensive sort of procedure. So therefore, quite often the co-owners themselves decide that they would construct the property and construct upon the property, and the property remains undivided for a very long time. So in such circumstance, these issues arise. So therefore, it has been made clear in the decision of the Punjab and Haryana High Court, which I am referring to right now, that a construction upon the property does not amount to diminishing the value, and so therefore the other co-owner, merely because he is a co-owner of the property, cannot seek an injunction as against the other co-owner. And the eventual of course, in such circumstances, it does not mean that the party who's approached the court will not be entitled to any relief at all. It has been left to the discretion of the court as to what relief is to be granted. But a relief, outright relief of restraining the other co-owner from the defendant co-owner from constructing upon the property, or for that matter directing the defendant to demolish the structure that has already been constructed within his bounds, is not permissible. So that is it for this video. I hope I have been able to explain this concept well. If you've got some questions or queries, kindly leave them in the comment section of this video, and I would try my best to answer them to the best of my capabilities. Again, I would like to remind you that if you found this video useful, kindly like this video, kindly share it with your friends, and subscribe to this channel for more such content. Until next time, this is Pritesh saying bye.